How you doing? You listen to, or you're watching Cathal here, Erwin from advsafety.com. Today we're going to be reviewing a waterproof boot. It's called Giasco Pompei S3 waterproof boot. You can see it here in the screen box I have here in front of me. Okay, so I'm just going to take you through the boot now. So Giasco are an Italian boot. All the footwear is made completely in Italy. We've been buying it in for the last number of months, and it's proved to be a very successful product for us. So as you can see, the boot comes unlaced. Okay, so I'll just take you through some of the technical aspects of the boot. Firstly, probably the most important, it's a safety boot. There is a composite toe cap in it, which makes it very light. So it's a composite toe cap. There is a steel mid plate. Again, it's Kevlar. The next thing, the most important thing, is it's got a waterproof membrane. So I suppose firstly it meets all EN and CE standards because it's made here in Europe. It's not an imported boot from outside Europe, so it's completely it's a completely European made. It's got a plastic toe cap, a composite toe cap, which makes it very light. It's got a Kevlar plate on the sole, so again it adds to the lightness and the flexibility of the sole. It's got on the sole, it's got a very soft, flexible, pliable sole, as you can see. Some boots you cannot do this on at all because the sole is so rigid, but that might be important for that particular type of boot. But this boot is a very flexible sole. It's quite a soft sole as well. The beauties of the sole is two different types of rubber, which basically react in different ways when your foot places the ground. One is for strength, for grip, and one is for cushioning. Also, in relation to it, there's a Kevlar mid plate in the insole, so it's not steel. Again, which reduces the weight and increases the flexibility of the boot. Now, the next thing which is very important at the boot is it has a waterproof membrane inside it. So you can see pretty much from this part of the boot here is waterproof all the way down. So pretty much from the ankle, just above the ankle, is waterproof down. And that membrane is a Wintex membrane. It's waterproof and it's also breathable, so it allows perspiration to escape out through the leather. Now, one of probably the more important things of this boot, the 2 or 3 major features of this boot is it's plastic toe cap, Kevlar mid plate, the rubber on the sole, the waterproof membrane, and also the quality of the leather. You can see it's a real soft, smooth leather. Almost you would think almost like a real soft suede, but it's not. That type of leather, as opposed to like a plastic, sort of very shiny type leather, allows perspiration to escape out of the boot. Okay, because this boot is a plastic toe cap, Kevlar mid plate, it's very light. And one of the reasons we brought this boot in is obviously it's an outdoor boot, but one of the reasons we brought it in for, let's say, is companies who are working on hot surfaces. So maybe companies who are working outdoors in the winter time on maybe in local authorities on spreading tar or asphalt. They are standing on asphalt that might be at 120 degrees. This boot is one of the few boots on the market, and I mean that, one of the few boots. We've looked in a lot of places, and this is one of the first boots we have found that offers a 300-degree sole on it. So it has a 300-degree sole, waterproof membrane, plastic toe cap, makes it very light, and it's a very durable boot. It's becoming a very popular boot for us. It's just something we brought in the last 6 months, but customers are insisting that their staff are supplied to come forward. Okay, so there's a lot of positives for this boot. What are the negatives for this boot? I suppose I'd like to see it maybe in a brown, just offer a bit of variety. I'm not particularly gone on maybe this grey strip here, but this is down to aesthetics. It's your own personal preference. Okay, so the positives and negatives about this shoe are, okay, I'm just going to run through the positives first, because obviously they're important. Okay, 300-degree sole, very flexible sole. very lightweight boot. I'm throwing that in the air, hopefully you can see it. Very lightweight, very boot. Plastic toe cap, Kevlar inside sole, waterproof membrane, high quality leather, very comfortable, very durable, reasonably priced for the type of boot that it is. When I look at negatives of it, the negatives, I suppose one of the major negatives for me is the insole. As you can see, let's say it's a standard enough type insole. It's not like a gel insole, but you have to look at the price point that you're at. You know, it is a quality boot at the right price. You know, that's something to bear in mind. Something else, I suppose, it's a nice looking boot, but it's not the nicest boot on the market. The aesthetics are good. They're good, again, for the price point that it is, but maybe this grey, I'm not particularly gone on it. Also, maybe I would like to see maybe a brown pair, because a lot of people like brown boots. And I'll just show you the difference here. A boot that we reviewed a couple of weeks ago, the DeWalt. Now, obviously, the DeWalt is that's a different size, but again, I think the aesthetics of that boot are quite nice, and they're a nice looking boot. Something I just want to show you the difference of the insole. But the price of this boot, you know, this boot is considerably more expensive. The DeWalt is considerably more expensive than the Pompei, and it depends on your budget. It's all down to a budget. But if you're to look at quality, that's a cushioned foam insole, whereas this is like a sort of a molded sort of cloth type insole, and that will provide a lot of additional comfort for the user. So I suppose when I look at it, I suppose the defaults not the defaults, but the drawbacks to it, possibly the insole. Of course, you could upgrade it with a better insole if you wanted. Just buy an extra insole for a couple of euro. I'd like to see a brown, and maybe the aesthetics. But overall, I think it's an excellent boot, offering a very broad range of technical aspects at the right price. Okay, who should wear this boot? Okay, this boot I think is ideally situated for the Irish market. This boot is predominantly an outdoor boot because, let's face it, it has a waterproof membrane. So it's for people who are working outdoors, people who are working in construction, people who are working in maybe construction, whether it's building construction or civil construction, people who are working outdoors and where rain and water is a problem. That's basically this boot is aimed at. Also people who are working on tarmacadam and asphalt and hot surfaces. So this is primarily an outdoor boot crossing a variety of different job situations. I'm Cathal Irwin. Today we reviewed the Giasco Pompei S3 waterproof boot. Click on the link below to follow us on Facebook. Also, if you have any comments or feedback, or if you've tried this boot and you'd like to add what your thoughts of your experiences were, please post them on our wall. We'd love to hear it. Thanks very much for listening.